Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to today's installment of Mike's Vehicle Vlogs. Thanks for watching today. Today, as you can see, we have cars covered in snow still. Except that one, because that one was driven yesterday. But today, we're going to talk about 8 years of ownership with the 2015 Ford Fiesta. And, well, as you can see, it's pretty snowy. So, might as well go ahead and get it de-thawed. Oh yeah. Lots of snow there. Yep. Alright. It's really not that cold today. I mean, it's cold and all, but it's in the 20s. It's 27 right now, according to the car. So, let's get this thing warmed up, and we'll. I have to go put gas in it, and then we'll head to our location, like I usually do, and we'll talk about 8 years with the 2015 Ford Fiesta. I think we're unfortunately gonna have to skip out on the whole car wash thing this time. Usually, if you haven't seen the other anniversary videos with this car, I usually just try to run it through the laser wash real quick, just so it looks pretty for the video. But the last few days, we've had a lot of snow and a lot of ice and stuff, so this car is too cold for that, and I don't want to take it through the wash at this time. So we're just gonna have to deal with it being all snow covered and icy in this particular anniversary video. All right, so we went ahead and filled up our tank. There she goes. That might give some of you guys an idea as to why the check engine light's been on. There's a lot of snow out here, so I really hope this car is not stuck. I tried to follow some of the other tire tracks that were out here at this park, but I don't know. I guess we will have to see once we leave. But anyway, so yeah, this is the 8-year anniversary vlog. So today is January 12th of 2025, and the purchase date of this 2015 Ford Fiesta was January 11th of 2017. So 8 years. The car is officially ours as of last year. We paid it off right before the 7-year anniversary. So yeah, this 8 years strong with this car, and I must say, it's kind of ironic that once we had paid it off, the little minor problems have already kind of started to show up. So as you had seen, you guys maybe in the last couple of vlogs with this car, the check engine light's been on for like almost 2 months now. I know why it's on. I just have to wait to get the part for it. And as you saw when we filled the tank up at the gas station, that probably gave a hint as to what it was, because the car wouldn't start right away. So it's not that big a deal. I'm planning on getting the part for that by the end of this month, and hopefully the weather will be cooperative. We can actually make a video and fix that problem there. Something else actually showed up, something very minor. I'm really not surprised by it. It's really bright out here. I'm sorry if I'm squinting. But not that big a deal. But yeah, so I mean, it's just kind of interesting. Overall, this vehicle has been fantastic in the last 8 years of ownership. If you guys have seen the last 7 anniversary videos of this 2015 Ford Fiesta, to be quite honest, there's really not a whole lot that's going to change in this particular video, because this car is still an amazing piece of equipment. And you know, I like making these anniversary videos with this car because, for one, it's the longest car that I've ever had in my ownership, my possession. It is, like I usually say, it's primarily my wife's car. She drives it, you know, pretty much to work and back, and maybe every now and then to, you know, a store or something. But I can say that you know, it doesn't get used as like heavily as like my Civic does. So another reason why I like to make these videos is because a lot of people, you know, in years past have really criticized, you know, this little car. They say it's like, you know, just a little cheap economy car, you know, and for the most part it kind of is. I mean, you know, this was like at the time Ford's, you know, lowest, smallest vehicle. You know, and you know, honestly, when we were looking at cars, this was not my first pick. I honestly wanted a Focus, but you know, as time went on, I've grown to really like the idea that we didn't buy a Focus, that we actually went with this instead. So so yeah, I mean, I like to make the anniversary videos on this car in particular because, you know, just kind of showing people what it's like to own one of these. And, you know, like I just said, it doesn't really get driven as much as, you know, a usual daily car does, because, you know, anytime her and I are together and we're going somewhere, we usually take the Civic. But you know, there are times where we do take this car out, you know, and, you know, that being said, you know, the car, when we bought the car in 2017, it only had like 21,000 miles on it. It had just come out of a 2-year lease from the previous owner. So as of right now, the car only has 54,000 miles on it. And, you know, that's, you know, 30-some thousand miles in 8 years. So, but in that time, you know, I'm not saying that the car has been perfect. I've had to replace, you know, a small list of things here and there throughout the last 8 years. Obviously, we actually have to replace an actual engine component, you know, this time around coming up. But a lot of the stuff that I have replaced, you know, it's just been usual wear and tear things, you know, brakes, tires, batteries. And then there's been a couple of things on the inside that, you know, I'll go over here shortly. So yeah, I guess let's go ahead and really get down to the nitty gritty of the 2015 Ford Fiesta SE. You can't tell now because of all the snow and the ice, but for the most part, the vehicle is actually still cosmetically in great shape. I will say, I think it was sometime last year, maybe the year before, I forget if I mentioned it or not, I did take a paint pen to some of the spots that had been bothering me over the years that had kind of chipped away. There's a couple of spots on the hood that are covered up by the ice that you wouldn't know, that I took a little paint pen to. But other than that, I mean, you know, I try to keep the car clean every summer. You know, like the other cars, everything gets a good thorough hand wash and spray waxing. I usually like I said, I usually like to take this car through the car wash before these anniversary videos, but there's just too much ice and stuff, you know, on it, and with it being as cold as it is, I just don't want anything to freeze over. But for the most part, like I said, everything cosmetically on the car is holding up pretty well. I know you can kind of see that's some of my paint pen right there. I don't know if it's coming on camera because I can't see. The screen's too dark, but I did have to touch this area up here. It is the same color pen, and I touched this up here. That was from a shopping cart that hit the car at some point in time during our ownership. Much like the dent here in this front fender, there's a dent right here. So a shopping cart, oh, excuse me, a shopping cart when it you know, shot into that when my wife worked at a shopping plaza. Some of the events, you know, I mean, having the car for 8 years now, the timeline is getting a little fuzzy of when all the events have taken place. So it's kind of getting kind of hard for me to remember when what actually happened. But yeah, so I mean, this side of the car really has most of the I guess flaws, as you can say. The wheels, these are the optional sport appearance package wheels that came equipped on this SE model, and they're holding up pretty well. I say it every time, they look a lot better when they are clean and there's no brake dust on them, let alone all of the road you know, crap from the winter. But all of the wheels, you know, they're in pretty good shape still. So I try my best, you know, every summer, like I said, when I detail them, try to get all the stuff out of them, and they look really good. In recent years, this black molding, every year it does seem to get a little worse. You can see a lot of the glue now, but it's coming up. It's actually curling some now to the side. So this has been coming up a little bit. The other side has also been coming up some. So eventually it's going to get to a point where I'm going to have to figure out a way to re-glue those in the warmer months ahead. What else have I noted over the years? Some of the black kind of chipped off the little, you know, accent door, the door jamb accent there. And this particular sill here, along with the other side, looks discolored compared to the rest of them. Don't know what that's all about. But it is, you know, something that's happening. It's really not that big a deal, really. Look at all this ice. Oh, is it melted? Oh, this is going to be fun. Hold on, let's... Oh, this is going to be sweet. Isn't that so satisfying? Alright, so... but yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, little things like that, you know, just kind of come with normal, you know, age of the vehicle. Really nothing too severe. The car is still rust free from the outside, and even underneath the car, you know, like where the rockers are, it's still overall in really good shape. There is like one real spot of rust that has showed up on the car in its entire form. And it's only been the inside of this door, and that's it. So the paint kind of peeled off, and you know, it's just rusting there. Honestly, it really doesn't look like it's gotten any worse either. It started flaking off down here some, but that's it. I mean, I don't know why that has happened, but all of the other doors, you know, and all the other body panels look pretty good. I think there might be some flaking under the front of the hood. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure this is an aluminum body. So, I think that's why that back door kind of flaked the way it does. Because my Fusion was kind of doing the same thing when I had it. But in the case of this car, it's underneath the hood. So we'll take a look at that here in a moment. But yeah, so the outside of the car, as mentioned, it still looks great, you know, especially when it's cleaned up. It's a beautiful car. Beautiful, beautiful car. It is winter time, so as usual, you know, there's always going to be snow and slush on the floors. But for the most part, the car is, the interior is still holding up pretty well. The seats, these seats were part of that sport appearance package. Difficult to keep clean because of the type of fabric that they are. But I mean, for the most part, the seats are still in really good shape. This plastic piece did break quite a while ago, but it's not that big a deal. It's just, it still stays on there, so don't really know. I can't remember when it happened, but it broke. That's something that's actually pretty common for this car too, from my understanding. My sister's broke on her Fiesta also. So yeah, I mean, the seats still in good shape. The one thing on this door, every now and then this back handle piece will pop out, and like when you go to close the door, it'll snap itself back into place. It's really not that big a deal. But I mean, other than that, everything else inside the car is holding up quite well as far as, you know, like, you know, regular fit and finish, I guess. We'll go ahead and give it a start so I can get warm a little bit. So yeah, get that on there. This thing has all right, 54,598 at the exact moment in time here. And yeah, with the exception of the check engine light being on now at this time, this car has been performing phenomenally. So everything in the inside of this car still works. Like I said, everything for the most part, nothing seems to be cracking or curling yet. The car does sit in the sun all the time because we don't have a garage. The My Ford Touch infotainment system, this particular system in general, it's still working just fine, especially for the age. I haven't really had any issues with it. My wife has said that here and there she has, her phone used to have a problem with connecting to it, but I think you know, we've had new phones for a while now, and ever since she changed phones, she hasn't really said anything about there being a problem with her phone, you know, connecting to it. But I mean, I've always liked this particular layout of this, you know, this system. I don't really didn't really care for like the updated ones. This one doesn't have the like the temperature side like the more upscale My Ford Touch systems do. I did find out a couple years ago that you can actually voice command the climate controls to change, so that's cool. I just it took me a long time to find that out. Other than that, you know, the stereo still sounds good. I did tell you that we had one other minor thing kind of show up within the last year, this last year of ownership. So so I took the CD in. It took the CD out. Wow, it made a liar out of me. The CD player started making the dreaded clicking noise. Wow, maybe the cold, maybe it likes the cold, I don't know. Try it one more time. Alright, scratch that. So the check engine light is really the only problem that we have with the car right now. No, I had a CD in there over the summer. I put something in there and it took the CD in. It started making the wacky clicking noises and then it spit the CD back out. So I told my wife, don't use the CD player. So, but apparently it seems to be working fine now, so I don't know. Thought maybe I was gonna have to change a disc drive in that radio like I have with like my mom's Escape stereo. So I don't know, but it's working now, so that's good. So yeah, climate controls. This one has the automatic climate control system. The heated seats still work after 8 years, and so does all of the ambient lighting, which you're not going to be able to see now because of the fact that it's too bright out here, but all of the ambient lighting accents are still working. So yeah, now the stuff that I've had to replace inside of this car in the last 8 years. A couple years ago, this turn signal switch had to, or not turn signal, wiper, this windshield wiper switch I had to replace because the washer button on the old one did not work, it quit working. So you have to replace this whole stock here. Wasn't that big a deal, it was actually pretty easy. So this is not original, we had to replace that. It is an actual Ford part though, I didn't buy an aftermarket. That is a genuine Ford wiper stock there. The climate control blend door. So the blend door is what controls which way the vents, you know, blow all the air out. This car is on its 4th one, so I recently put the 4th one in. I can't remember now, but it's not that old. Yeah, blend door actuator number 4. And in going with actuators, behind the dashboard there's another actuator that I had to replace, and that was for the recirculation, to bring in either outside air or recirculate the inside air. So that actuator failed. That was actually a lot easier to replace compared to the blend door actuator itself. So yeah, it's on its 2nd recirculation actuator. It's on its 4th blend door actuator. Wiper stock. This sun visor had to be replaced right around the time that the car was still under factory warranty, because this door fell off, so I just had it replaced because why not? It's under warranty. The door did break off of this one out of warranty, so I said forget it. That one doesn't get used anyway, so what difference does it make? And is that it? Is that it for the inside stuff? That's all the stuff that I've had to fix on the inside, really. Under the hood of this Fiesta is the 1.6 liter Sigma 4-cylinder engine, the Duratec engine also. It is the non-turbo engine. It's just a very nice basic engine to have. Makes like 120 horsepower. Doesn't sound like a whole lot, but this little tiny car paired with that dual clutch transmission that everybody hates, this car is actually quite peppy. And it's another reason that it's actually pretty fun to drive. So under here, everything is still, you know, in good order. This is the 3rd battery that this car has had. I just put this battery in December of 22. So that's the 3rd battery that this car has had total. The dual clutch transmission clutch was replaced either in 2018 or 2019, I can't remember. The car had like 27,000 miles. The clutch that's in that transmission now is holding up very well, so we haven't had any problems with that yet. Other than that, that's really it. Now the check engine light, I'm pretty sure, is coming from this purge valve. By the way, that's I think the purge valve is sticking open when the car is you know, not on, or it's not closing all the way or something. Feels like it might be working now because it's, you know, I can feel it kind of clicking, but it might be getting stuck at times. So I'll put the Ultel on it before the end of the video and we'll make sure. But the car not starting when you fill up the tank and such, it's probably, that's like one of the main symptoms of a bad evap purge valve. So my sister's went bad on her Fiesta prematurely. These do have a history with Fords of actually failing prematurely, so, but I have to order one of those. So it's not too big a deal right now. We'll see what the code says, but that is my hypothesis. Other than that, yeah, so it's been good. Oil changes every 5,000, sometimes earlier, depending on, you know, how long the oil's been in there. I don't usually let it go over a year. Like I said, the hood, you see some of the paint peeling under the hood here. That's a pretty common Ford thing. So, yep. So other than that, outside here, the tires. So the tires are just a few years old, but they're still in great shape, being that the car doesn't, you know, doesn't rack up the mileage as much. So these are Continental Extreme Contact, I think. Yeah, Extreme Contact tires. These have been the best tires I think that I've ever had on a car. These are a lot better than the Hancooks that came with the car from factory. That tire back here, I will say, back a couple months ago, I had to put a patch plug in it because she ran over a brad nail on the road and it was leaking like once a week. I had to put air in it, so finally I took it to work with me one day. Found a small nail in it, so it was luckily it was fixable, and I just patched it up from the inside. Haven't had a problem with it since. And the brakes, so this car is on its third set of front brakes. In 2020 I replaced the original front pads and rotors with Napa pads and rotors. I wanted them to give me the equivalent of what the factory specs were. I don't think they did. They told me they did, but they didn't, because for the last few years the brakes were always squealing. The brake dust was unbearable on these wheels. So finally I broke down and we put the Ford Motorcraft pads and rotors on the front brakes. And I'll tell you what a world of difference. The brake dust hasn't been nearly half as bad as what those Napa pads are doing. The brakes are quiet, and yeah, it's so much better. So, I mean, sometimes it just goes to show that, not all aftermarket stuff is, even something as simple as brakes, the car can sometimes reject them. It's amazing. But yeah, so we got our Ford brakes on there, and they've been so much better. Haven't done anything with the drum brakes yet though, but at 50,000 miles, 54,000 miles, I don't really think there's anything wrong with our drum brakes. But maybe one of these days, maybe we'll, just for fun, we'll pull the drums off there and we'll inspect the inside, maybe hose down the brake dust and stuff that might be in there, but I don't think there's anything wrong with those. And the last thing that I can remember that I've had to replace in our 8-year ownership was the light bulb, the brake light bulb in that light there. And honestly, that gave out like within the first few months of us owning the car, weirdly enough. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I covered everything. I really hope that we can make it back to the road. We're moving. So where is the road? This is the road. Okay, so I think we're on the road. Yes, we are, because they cleared like some of the road. They didn't clear all of it, so. Alright. Hooray! We made it out of there. So like I say all the time, this car is, it's still really fun to drive. It's such a sporty little, nimble car. And, a lot of it, it's obviously, it's not that wide of a car and it's not that long of a car. So, I mean, it's really easy to, get this car to steer and to move and park, and it's an easy car to drive. Visibility is really good in this car all around too. Now, as far as like, with me and leg room and such, I'm a tall person, so the seat is usually all the way back for me, but I can actually drive this car comfortably. Not as comfortable as like the Civic, or as far as room, like, I don't want to say that. Like, I'm comfortable. I just wish I had little more leg room to stretch out a little more, but it really doesn't, make or break, the whole, not driving the car for me. Because, when I do drive this car, I really like to drive it. It's fun. The dual clutch transmission, when you put it in sport mode and, actually shift through the transmission yourself, when the environment's right, you really can have some fun with it. Something that I was told a long time ago was, with that particular transmission, because everybody kind of hates the transmission because of the problems they've had. They weren't really specified that, you know, it's not a full automatic transmission. You have, you know, a regular automatic shifter, but it's not an automatic transmission. It's a manual transmission that's controlled by its own module. So, yeah, nobody knew that. And if you baby this transmission too much, that's when you're going to start to have issues with the clutch packs. Every now and then, you kind of have to drive this car hard. You know, you want those shifts to really engage pretty quick. And that's because you want those clutches to stay rough. You know, you don't want them to start smoothing out, because if they start to smooth out, that's when you're going to start having clutch slippage. And, you know, that it's just that kind of thing. So when I drive this car every now and then, I like to kind of hammer on it, especially when I'm controlling the shifts myself. I'll like maybe hold the shifts out a little longer before I, you know, engage them. And then that way, you know, I'm only hoping that I'm kind of helping the longevity of this clutch, you know, stay pretty functional. But yeah, you're not supposed to really baby these cars. They're meant to be, a dual clutch transmission is meant to be driven kind of harshly. It's not the best time of year to be talking about how comfortability is, because this road is all tore up due to all the salt and potholes and, you know, all the stuff. This road's really bad, actually. I should not have come down this way. But for the most part, this car is pretty comfortable. You know, it's a small car. It's got, you know, some skinny tires on it. So the, you know, it's not the most comfortable car in the world. But I mean, for the most part, it's really nothing to complain about. There's definitely worse cars, and there again, you know, like I said, this thing's got the sport appearance package on it, so those wheels and tires that are on this car do kind of, you know, make a difference as far as how the car is going to handle, how it's going to ride. And but no, I mean, no complaints here. All of the suspension parts on this car are still factory. Granted that the car is technically 10 years old at this point, everything is still nice and tight. When I took the car to work for an oil change, when did I do that? A month ago. Had an oil change a month ago. I, you know, was underneath, obviously checking all of the suspension and stuff, and yeah, everything on the car's still good. What a pretty winter wonderland. The car does get pretty good gas mileage, 26.7 average. This car is mostly city driven, so I mean, that seems to be pretty accurate. Not sure if the evap leak is, you know, affecting that any at this time, but for the most part, I think the last few times that I've checked the MPGs on this car, it's usually in the high 20s like that. And of course, you know, the weather is going to affect that also, but 26.7 on average really is not bad. It's not bad at all. Alright guys, so we're gonna go ahead and do the get the official code for the check engine light here. Sorry about all the screen glare and such. The Altel needs its battery charge, so I'm going to try to do this pretty quick. So I'm going to cut straight to the chase. I'm just going to go to Control, Unit, PCM, instead of doing an all system scan. Let's just read codes this way. Key on, engine off. Okay, hit OK. Car's probably going to do a couple of weird things, yeah. Diag mode. Fans kicked on. Alright, so we have unable to bleed up fuel tank vacuum, which is a P1450. and that same code is also pending. So it doesn't look like it's actually throwing a code for that evap purge, but my guess is because of the fact that you know, the car not starting right away after filling the tank up and such, that evap purge is probably not closing all the way. So it may, you know, because when we went under the hood, it felt like it was still working, but there's a chance that, you know, maybe it's not closing all the way. Now, when the car's closed, when the car's off, that evap purge is supposed to be completely closed off. So that way those fuel tank vapors don't get into the engine until the PCM tells that particular purge valve to start operating at a specific percentage. So that is probably, I still think that's probably what we're looking at here. Yeah, but we did see here the low fuel trim is at -5%. So the PCM's been trying to take fuel delivery away because of probably that purge valve not closing all the way, or something's not you know, sealing it off completely. So that's what we got there. So we'll dig into that you know, in an upcoming vlog when I go to replace that purge valve. Alright guys, so that's it for today's vlog. 8-year ownership, 2015 Ford Fiesta SE. I say it every time, guys. I do not regret buying this car. This car has been amazing, and you know, I really have to say, you know, to all the people who like criticize how cheap this car is and stuff, you know, it's really not that bad of a car. You know, either we got really lucky with the one that we have, maybe we don't abuse it as much because it doesn't get driven a whole lot. I don't know, but all I can say from my point of view, my standpoint, is that this car has been amazing, and I really, you know, don't want to get rid of it literally until like it's at the point where it's like literally dead. So that's all that I've got for today, guys. Thumbs up, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks again for watching. Take care.